This is Anime Ricochet. Hello everybody, welcome to Anime Ricochet. My name is Jeff, and with me, as always, is a man who is genuinely afraid of horses. His name is Kobe. Welcome to the show, Kobe.
Yeah, not even a joke. I am afraid of horses. Those things are terrifying.
It's a legitimate thing, and I would like to discuss that a little bit more. But before that, Kobe, we have a special guest here on our very show. He comes from his own land of anime podcasting, known as Anime Dumpster Dive, in which him and a couple friends watch anime that have been deemed trash by the public, and then they go on and decide for you whether or not it really is trash. I hope that was an apt description. If it's not, he can correct me. Anyways, special guest, his name is Jake. Welcome to the show, Jake.
Yay. Hi, glad to be here, guys.
Wow.
And that was pretty accurate.
Awesome.
For the description.
I was afraid because I was like, oh crap, should I tell him what Jake does or should we talk about this? It was like, but then a part of me was just like, I want to see what happens. So
you wanted to see me hang myself, didn't you?
Yeah, I wanted to see you flounder because you revealed my deep fear of horses.
Well, now your fear is public, and Anime Dumpster Dive's appearance is public. I recommend you guys listen to it. I've listened to a few episodes myself, and you guys are very entertaining over there. So, happy to have you on here.
I am an avid listener of Anime Ricochet as well.
What a big kumbaya.
Nice.
I fucked up my word.
Thank you for being one of 5 listeners to that show. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyways, Kobe, tell us about your fear of horses. Why do you hate them so much?
Well, this is a weird thing to start off with, I guess, but I just think horses kill more people than sharks. They kill more people than, other land-based animals. People don't understand how big and powerful they are, but for some reason they're like, hey, you know what? Let's ride these bad boys. Because that's what they want to do, because mankind is stupid. But then one horse kick in the face and you're done. And that's it, game over. Or if it gets angry or spooked while you're riding it, you get bucked off and then that's it, game over, man. So I don't understand why people want to ride horses. I don't understand how cowboys did it. They're just terrifying beasts that are just everywhere.
Do you know when this fear originated at all?
Yes.
Did you just start thinking about it?
It was Easter Sunday at my old church, St. Luke's. We were that Jake knows because that's how Jake and I know each other. We went to the same church.
Yeah, I met her there.
Yeah, fun
Not
fact.
horse related.
Not horse related. Just thought I would put that out there. But we were cooking Easter breakfast one day, and out back, I guess behind the place, there was a ranch. So it's we were emptying out some of the trash, and then all of a sudden a big horse popped through it, its head through the fence. And then I was like, oh, God, what is that? And I just realized I did not want to go near it, at all. Everyone else was, kind of approaching. I was like, no.
Whoa, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Must be, I wonder if that's an ancestral thing, It's in your DNA. One of your ancestors died via horse bucking or something.
Every generation of, Kobe's ancestry has at least one death by horse.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen. It's I just don't want it to be me this time around.
Anyways, that was a fascinating story. Thank you for sharing your deep hatred of horses, Kobe.
That's what we're here to do, I guess.
Speaking of your hatred of horses, we have a show to talk about. And yes, it is a sports anime. If you don't know, this podcast is about 2, maybe 3 dudes who know nothing about sports talking about sports anime. And this... Actually, you know what, Jake? Do you play sports? What do you know about sports? What are they?
I ran track and played soccer in high school. I still do some long distance running, so I really enjoyed this show
for some weird reason.
And I also am an avid sports watcher. So
wow. Well, you're a real sporty fellow, aren't you?
I love all the sports ball.
Awesome.
Mostly basketball, right, Jake?
Basketball and football.
So yeah,
that's perfect.
We should have had him on a Kuroko.
Yeah,
podcast.
we should tap you as our sports correspondent and ask you if certain sports moves are in fact legitimate. But this episode, we're going to be talking about Uma Musume, Pretty Horse Derby. Is that the title? Is that how you pronounce it? Uma Musume Pretty Derby. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just agreeing.
No worries. Oh, okay, cool. Yes, it is in fact
That's
name
good.
of the show.
We're off to a good start.
Yeah, fantastic. Anyways, this anime is about horse girls. It's not half horse, half girl. It's about girls with horse characteristics. They have tails and horse ears, and they like to run. That's their thing, and then they race. That's the sport aspect of it. Does that make sense? Because horse racing's a sport.
Horse racing is a sport.
I agree.
Yeah. So that is the anime in which we shall be discussing. So are you guys ready for the discussion to begin?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, let's do it.
Why not?
Let's get out the gate.
Oh, look at that.
Off with the sports puns.
God, he's already beat us with the sports puns. Jeff, we gotta
let's hoof it to the discussion. Yeah, all right, Kobe, you're behind now.
Stop, you're making my voice hoarse. Did that work? Did that work?
Not bad. I'll give that one to you.
D-.
So Uma Musume Pretty Derby is usually when I do these things and I talk about animes, I'll say it's an anime based off a manga of the same name. And in this case, yes, that is in fact true. But the interesting thing about this anime is that it's owned by a mobile gaming company called Cygames. So they started off with their own manga, which was basically the same title. It was called Starting Gate! Uma Musume Pretty Derby. And it has 3 volumes out. Apparently, it's still ongoing. It started in March 25th, 2017 on Cygames' comic website. And then the anime came out April of this year, and it went until June with about 13 episodes. And a mobile gaming company, yeah.
That's a fast turnaround, is it not? I don't know with a fast turnaround for an anime for a manga to come out like April of last year, or March of last year, and then the anime to come out April of this year. Jake, is that a quick turnaround, or is that normal?
I feel like it's pretty quick for this. Like normally, like those manga that get like quick anime adaptations are like crazy popular, like My Hero or like Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of, for me, came out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. That I didn't even know I had a manga based off of it.
Yeah, and they actually have a game coming out for it on iOS and Android. It's supposed to come out Q4 of this year. So I think the quick turnaround is explained by the fact that, and this is just a theory, I didn't really look into Cygames that much, but like the manga and the anime was all basically a build-up for the mobile game that they're going to be releasing later on this year. Like it was all kind of like part of its marketing. So that's my guess.
That's some insane marketing for a mobile game.
Yeah, let's create a whole show around it. A very. I don't know. I don't have my ear to the anime community. Jake, how popular is this?
While it was airing, the discussions had quite a bit of action going on in it. So I'm like, I learned a lot in those discussions. So I assume that people are probably looking forward to the mobile game now.
I probably would. I mean, I think I might check that out if it's a free download. It's very cheap.
$1.99, get that shit out of here.
Yeah, get out of here. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, I mean, that explains the multitude of characters in this show, which we will go into. Maybe not all of them, but I think we can discuss the large cast that this show has. Anyways, lastly, the anime adaptation was developed by PA Works. And PA Works, the only one I really recognize on their list of works is Angel Beats. Have you guys seen Angel Beats?
I loved Angel Beats. That was like one of the first ones I watched, I think. Like one of the first like 3 or 4 I watched.
Yeah, they worked on that show. I really liked Angel Beats. It was on my top 10 animes for a time. It might still be. I need to check that out again.
I need to rewatch that again. I haven't rewatched that since I first watched it like 4, 5, or 6 years ago. But
same here. It's been a while. It's a gut punch. But it's a good one, you know.
I enjoy it, but I don't like crying, so I kind of don't watch it one off.
That is an apt description of what it will make you do. So yeah, that's a quick background on the anime. Uma Musume Pretty Derby. So now let us discuss the characters. So first up on the list, the main girl herself. Her name is Special Week.
Special Week.
Spechan.
Jake, why don't you hit it off? Why don't you tell us about Special Week?
So Special Week is a country bumpkin girl. She, her and her mom, like, kind of live in this small town, and her mom's been training her to be a top-tier horse girl. So she moves to the city, and gets into like a school that raises like that really trains top tier horse girls, and she has some natural talent, but she's hoping to really smooth out her edges here, and she meets a trainer and pretty good teammates there that really help her grow in that aspect.
So she's a typical anime girl protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. She's got a can-do attitude, and she's ready to learn and become the best.
Yep.
Because that's what you do. That's what you do when you're a horse girl. That was the best thing about like the opening of this, when they talked about like in ancient times there was horse girls started appearing like in mankind. And what did we do with them? We made them race.
Made them run in giant circles.
And that's it. That's their only use in life. These super strong, super next step in human evolution are just used for regular mankind's enjoyment.
And
it sounds about right.
If they wanted to.
Yeah, they could. They really could, because horses are scary and they can do that. And no one suspects them to be as powerful as they are, but they are.
All right, spin-off series idea. Okay, what if they militarized the horse girls and they turned them into like super soldiers, you know, because they can run super fast and stuff?
They could. That could totally work. Uma Musume,
supposedly
pretty army.
And I assume they're very strong. And yeah, their looks would disarm you. It's like, oh, cute girls, and then they just fucking run up to you and kick you in the face.
Your head would fly off.
Yeah.
That's it.
I like it. I think I'd like that anime.
But that wouldn't be a sports anime though, so we couldn't review it.
That's true. Unless they made a sport out of it. A fictional sport.
Hunting man, the deadliest sport of all.
Anyways, how do we feel about Special Week?
She grew on me. I think throughout the series, I would say at first I was like, okay, I dig it. She's fun. She's cute. Then she kind of grew, in my opinion, a little grating on me in the middle. But then I thought she brought it home at the end. Those are my general thoughts.
Yeah, I think she's I think I share the same sentiment with you. She grew on me, and I think it was mostly because of the way I felt towards this anime, especially in the beginning. I think I kind of shifted my expectations after, say, the second or third episode, and once I think began seeing it for maybe closer to the genre that it was, then I started to enjoy it, and I started to enjoy her as a character. She's very sweet and likable, and you want her to win. That's what I think.
I agree. I'd say that she's definitely a likable character, and she has good determination for a main character. There's that like a little part where I agree with Kobe and I guess Jeff, where she like kind of becomes a little bit annoying, but she does snap out of it, and I feel like it's in character with how she snaps out of it, and I go back to really liking her again.
And it's service to the story. Like, it makes sense, and it provides like the final arc and the final push of as it kind of shapes what this anime is about. So like I get why she was like that in the midsection, because it ties into the theme of the whole show. So I can't really fault it for that. She was supposed to be a little, I guess she wasn't supposed to be a little unlikable. I just found her a little unlikable, but she pulled herself out of it.
All right. So it seems like she's likable but kind of annoying. And then we like her again.
Yeah.
So the next one is Silence Suzuka. Kobe, what is it about Silence Suzuka? What's up with that?
Silent Suzuka is an awesome racer. Like, she's one of the best. She's the one that Special Week looks up to more than any other horse. And she provides, the crux of Special Week's whole motivation. She wants to run with Special Week and she wants to run with Silent Suzuka. But to be honest with you, Silences Suzuka's whole is like her character herself. I didn't really get a good sense of who she was as a horse girl, and I thought her not having a big enough personality or me to be able to distinguish like who she is besides the plot elements that happened to her, like story elements happened to her, and I get that, but I just didn't get enough of her personality around that to frame what is the central relationship of the show, if that makes sense. Like her. She's the crux of this whole show, and as a character, she fell flat, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
I don't know if she's necessarily the crux. I mean, I think that kind of falls on Special Week. But I do think that there was a very obvious arc that they could have gone with with her, and I don't think they really followed through on that. She kind of became sort of one note through the series, although there was an event that happened to her, which I think we can discuss maybe in spoiler section, that I thought was very moving, and I did like the storyline surrounding that. But her personality was she is the cool and reserved side to the pairing. So it's basically, this is a rivalry pairing that we see in pretty much every sports anime. In this case, it's Special Week and Suzuka, but this one's a little special in that one of them actually looks up to the other person, and the rivalry is not as combative. It's more of like they're quite clearly friends and allies, and eventually they kind of catch up to each other and can actually call each other rivals. So I think that it was interesting in that aspect.
Yeah, the rivalry part really doesn't like rear its head until later in the series or later in the season. Because at first they are, like, to me they just seemed like close friends, kind of have that almost mentoree type relationship, and then we see Special Week, like Silent Suzuka's whole growth really depends on how Special Week reacts to her. And so that's how I felt like she's, in my opinion, kind of a wasted character. Like, I feel like they could have added more to her, but she's so based off Special Week, looking up to her, racing with her, wanting to run with her, that she's more of a tool for Special Week to grow.
Yeah, because she's the tool. She's someone that Special Week looks up to. I just didn't think it warranted that. Like, sure, Silence was like a good racer, but Special Week's complete and utter devotion to Silence, I don't think was earned throughout like the first half of the series to make like that last half of the series as, you know, as logical. Like, I just didn't get that relationship, and it just didn't feel as strong to me as it could have been.
Yeah, there wasn't completely clear why Suzuka was attracted to Special Week as well, because it was reciprocal. Like, she looked up to her as like a hero, but then for some reason at the same time, Suzuka really found herself attached to Special Week for some reason.
And it's not really a spoiler, I guess, because it happens in the second episode when, you know, because she comes upon after Special Week, I think, loses, you know, Silence like hears her crying into the thing about like how I want to be the best, and that, I think that's supposed to be like the moment where they kind of become, you know, close, and Silence kind of looks out for her, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
I think you're onto something, but I think even before that, wasn't Suzuka very much involved in helping her getting better and stuff like that? She was very encouraging and stuff, or am I remembering that incorrectly?
I think she notices her when Special Week tries out for Team Regal. And then she kind of gets she starts to notice Special Week. I think that's how that starts out. And then I think Kobe's right with the interaction, if I recall correctly.
Like, I would get it if Silences started her character arc as someone almost ready to give up on horse racing. Like, someone who's like not, you know, doesn't really want to do this as much anymore because she's so good. And then she meets Special Week, who has this such unbridled passion for it that it kind of reignites her in it, and then they move along together. But I just didn't get anything from. It's like, for not understanding why Silence took such a special notice to Special Week is kind of hindered my mindset throughout like this first half. But that's just me.
There we go, man. Writing sports anime. One of these days, man, we gotta write these sports anime, or at least like take a show and then like completely turn it around and like
what Jake does on the excellent podcast Anime Dumpster Dive, where they talk about how to fix trash animes. There's your plug.
That was that
was a good plug. I liked it. It was seamless.
Yeah.
Wish I would have done it.
Oh, damn it. Sorry.
It's all good. We'll toss you another one.
Yeah.
So the next character that I think is worth mentioning is the trainer. He's basically the head of the team that Suzuka and Special Week are on.
Team Spica.
And he doesn't even have a name. I looked it up on the Uma Musume wiki, and his name just says Trainer.
Trainer. That's what they all call him. Trainer. And that's an easy name to remember.
You know, yeah. I'd put money on it that in the mobile game, your player icon is probably him.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, who else would? Yeah, who else would it be? Really? I mean, unless in that game you make up your own team, maybe, and then that's one of the rival teams. Anyways, so trainer is the trainer, and all I gotta say about him is he's probably the worst coach type of all the sports animes we've seen, because he doesn't really do any coaching. He just kind of tells them to run and then inspires them. I mean, maybe that's all you need to do to be a coach, but
yeah,
in
he had
terms
a tendency to be like, hey, and they're like, Coach, what should we do? And he's like, forget all that, run.
He describes his coaching style as laissez-faire. So he's very, very hands-off in his training, and so it doesn't seem like he does much. It seems like mostly what he does is he scouts out talented racers, asks them to be on his team, and then just lets them improve on their own. So he's like the most.
That's a training style in its own sense, right? Because you got to learn how to fight your own battles and find your own things. He gives them opportunities. He gave Special Week, like he understands what Special Week needed to do in order to get better. So he set up a match where she needed to learn on her own what she needed to do to overcome, like hills or like the short sprint. So, I mean,
that's true, but I mean, that's all the times that it worked out. What about all the times where it doesn't work out, which they don't show, of course. But imagine this is his coaching style all the time. What if that's his coaching style? Just kind of like he just kind of gambles, He's just like, hey, that person looks talented, and he like feels them up on their thighs. That's another thing he does. He likes touching girls' thighs without their permission. That's like the one pervy indulgence that they allow in this show. And then of course he gets a swift kick to the face
by a horse,
kill a normal man,
where he would be dead.
Yeah, he would be dead. Maybe that's why he's the best trainer, because he can take a kick to the head. That's all it is in this horse girl trainer hierarchy. Anyways,
Jake, would you like his training style? Would you like him to be your coach?
Yeah, you're the sporty one. Imagine him as your
sporty one. No matter what sport, he's just training you to be a horse girl. Even though you're like, Coach, we're playing basketball. He's like, run faster.
Like, figure it out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you my dream, and you're gonna get inspired by it.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have a different dream about 5 minutes later. You'll be inspired by it too. No, but it's funny because they kind of hint at a coaching style, but they like, because they talk about like, oh, like, are we going to stick with the plan? And then you're like, there is strategy in distance running. And he goes, no. Throw away that plan. And you're like, okay, it'd been really cool if I would have heard the plan that we were now throwing away, but whatever, dude. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine.
It's kind of like they're alluding that he does have like an idea of what he's doing, but then he throws it away in favor of instinct. Which is a horrible idea.
It's a horrible thing for a team of horse girls, but I guess it works out for him.
Yeah, and there actually is another coach in this show. I don't know if she has a name either, but they don't really show her coaching style either, do they? I don't know. I don't know. This sports anime seems to lean more towards the anime than the sport, if that makes sense.
Yes. No, totally, because we've watched a lot of anime where it's like it breaks down the sport so much about like positions and like what's good and like when to make your move. Like I think a different anime would have handled this about how much, like when you should run, like how you start the race, like the turn that you should break out on, the difference between being on the inside and the outside, and that sort of thing. This one didn't really do that. This one just had, it's coming up on the fourth turn, time to make their move.
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of feels like they assume you know what racing is. Like, because to be honest, like I didn't even think about that, because like growing up running and like doing like races, they're saying all this stuff. It's like, oh, she's in the middle of the pack, that's hard to get out of there. I'm like, yeah, that is. It's like, oh, she's in the back, she's watching. I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, fourth turn. I'm like, this is where everyone kicks it. And then I'm like, oh, okay. So not knowing that stuff, I guess, is actually like, they just kind of say it. So
yeah, I didn't run at all. I don't think I have run
in your entire life.
Yeah, 25 years of living.
Jacoby was late for a flight once. He said, okay, I'm going to be late.
Okay, I'm still going to keep up this brisk walk.
This is as fast as I can go.
Yeah. No
faster than this brisk walk.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. Okay. Those are all the characters that I wanted to go through. There is, like I said, a huge cast. So I thought maybe it would be interesting if each of us kind of picked out our favorite horse girl and maybe talked about them briefly.
Okay.
Jake, do you have a favorite horse girl?
I do have a favorite horse girl, and I'm hoping it's not Kobe's favorite as well. But my favorite horse girl is El Condor Pasa.
She's close. She was a close
And
second. Sucker.
She's
a fan favorite.
She is kind of like the first actual rival for Special Week when Special Week shows up, and El Condor Pasa is like different than like the way she's introduced. You kind of feel like she's going to be like that jokey rival who's like just not really a rival, but she shows up and she just like is stupidly talented, and she just smashes like Special Week on their first like run together, and I'm like, that's really cool. I really like that. I like a challenge for our protagonist. And then I just love her really cocky personality. Like that's her whole deal. Like even to the end of the show, she's still so cocky, and I really love it.
What I liked about El Condor Pasa is that she's like one of the only ones who had a separate storyline. Like she like went off on her own and had like her own adventure in France or in Europe. Like, so that was cool.
She has a cool mask.
She was the one when I saw her, I was just like, she's the only one I can really distinguish, like right off the bat. Like there's like so many horse girls. I'm like, I don't know who's who yet. Like I know her, Mask Girl, El Condor Pasa.
I was wondering if it had to do with like the joke that she's like a luchador or something. I don't know why she was wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the flavor they're going for, because like El Condor Pasa, that's like a Spanish
Condor,
name.
bird, right? That's bird, and they called her the bird. I just made that connection.
I can, yeah, you know the
there we
really, I can fly faster than you, El Condor.
Yeah. Well, what was weird, I just understood that when like she's like a bird out there. It's like, well, wouldn't she want to be a horse out there? Like she's already an animal. Like why would you compare an animal to a different animal when you're animal racing? I mean, that didn't make sense to me, but okay. All right, Jeff. What about you? Who's your top girl? Oh, maybe I should go first.
I also wanted to mention that. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say. So I was looking up condors, and it says here the condor is a South American bird, but actually it's the Andean condor. So I don't know if condors generally are only
condors
in the
are birds.
South.
There's condors around everywhere, right? I think there's like a hawk, right? That's what a condor is.
Wouldn't that be a hawk?
Big bird.
Like
a big boy
it's like
bird.
a version. It's in the same family, Jake.
Yeah.
The condor. It's cooler than it's like a falcon. I'm going to say, I think it's closer to a falcon than a hawk, which I think is still part hawk. I don't know my birds. We didn't watch a bird anime. We watched a horse anime.
Yeah. We need to talk about that in our other anime podcast, Anime Ricochet, where we do use nothing about birds, talk about bird-related animes.
Our list is very low for that. That's something. I just realized it's like, man, they didn't get to talk about all these bird things. They didn't really talk about. I wish they would have talked about different horse breeds and like the different types of things. So there's like a lot of them. Like I thought there was like a connection between how these people looked. Like it was interesting how like the silver-haired girls like attracted to each other. Like the brown-haired girls with like the silver streak were like, you know, had a connection with each other. So I thought there was like something there, but I didn't. I wish they would have gone into horse breeds and bird breeds.
From my understanding with that, since all these characters are based off real horses, is that when like a character who looks similar had a connection to one, is that they were from the same like kind of bloodline of different stallions.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, like something similar to that, because it was interesting how as the story progresses and like people started like pairing up, I guess, in some storylines, like the president with whatever
Teo
that girl
or Teo,
yeah, and you know the silver-haired girls together. It was like they're kind of forming packs. So I thought that was cool. Fun fact for you.
Fun horse fact.
Fun horse facts.
Kobe, who's your favorite?
El Condor Pasa was a close second. And it's thought long and hard about this. One who was an early contender to be top horse girl was like I think Seiyun Sky, the short-haired, white-haired girl who like raced against Special Week at the beginning, the one who had like a really cool attitude. You guys remember her?
Yeah.
I thought she was cool.
She was good at the hills.
Yeah, she was good at the hills, and then she had like first like an attitude was just like I don't really care, but then secretly she did care. So I thought that was cool. But then she dropped from the story like a rock. So then the real MVP horse girl showed up, and that is Gold Ship, who's like a game-loving, for some reason creepily obsessed with McQueen for a reason we never find out in the show. It's just, but she's also the the rock of the team, because as you find out kind of later on, she's very important to the team itself and its foundation and everything about that. And she provides the best running gag throughout the show as she keeps poking herself in the eye
Yes.
every chance she gets. So Gold Ship is the best horse girl.
All right.
Do you like how Jake said it? Because, El Condor Pass had good personality and good everything, and I like Gold Ship because she kept poking herself in the eye.
Like I like that part where she flicks the eraser and hits her in the eye.
Hits her in the eye. Ha! It's funny.
It's okay, Kobe. I'll do you one better because my favorite horse girl is Vodka. Purely because of her design. That's it.
She does have a really nice design. I like.
Which
her.
one's
She's
Vodka
cool.
out of the two? I know she's one of the two.
She's the
red
one
hair
with
or
the
short
brown
black
hair and the white streak with the ring around her left ear, and she wears black.
The emo one.
Yeah.
The one who's part of the rivalry, right? Between yeah.
Oh yeah, her and Scarlet. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Me personally, none of these characters in particular stood out to me that much, because there was such a big cast and really they weren't too focused on any of them. They were all essentially a supporting cast, and there's only so much you could do with those kinds of characters. So I never really latched on to any of them, like personality wise. And like we kind of discussed, I mean, the original, like the three main characters we discussed weren't really stand out also. So I just went for the one with the best with design, and that's why Vodka is my favorite horse girl.
Yeah.
Anyways, so
we'll get into more about character faults of like this show as probably in spoilers.
Spoilers, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, before we exit the character section, Jake, do you have some horse facts to share with us?
I do. I have some, since, again, all these characters are based off actual horses. There's this character that Special Week meets right away, and it's right at the beginning when she meets her, and she gets introduced to her. She's like the first friendly horse girl she meets, and that's Haru Urara. And fun fact about this one, because Haru in the show is seen in like one race where she comes in dead last. And that's in the first one. And then every now and then they always go, oh, well, Urawa had a race, and then she comes back with souvenirs, and they're like, how'd your race go? And she doesn't answer. It's because Haru Urara, the actual horse, is on a 113th losing streak. She has never won a race. She hasn't raced since 2004. Oh, I think she might be dead. I think this article might be. Oh no,
that's how the story ends.
Yeah, that'll be an old ass horse.
No, but no, she hasn't raced in a while. If she is still racing, but she never got technically retired.
Oh man!
But she was so famous for coming in last that people had like shirts where it was like "Be like Urara," like never give up type deal, and
that's wholesome.
Yeah, it's spread to like the United States and even Europe, and people like her last race. Had like 14,000 spectators all cheering for her or whatever.
Aww.
Dang, that's actually pretty cute.
See, I wish I would have known that before watching it, because that makes all of her appearance. Every time she appeared, she always came back for stuff. I'm like, wait, who? And it's like funny. I thought the joke is, she keeps coming back. I'm like, who's this chick? Like I kept forgetting every time, but that would have made it better.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Jake, are all these horses based off Japanese race horses, or are they race horses from around the world?
The ones that are in Japan are based off Japanese racehorses. There's Bro or Bria or however you pronounce it.
The French one,
right? The French one is a French racehorse.
Okay, so that's based off nationality.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. I like that one.
Another one is Special Week's races were all accurate, except for the last race, where I don't think that one happened. But all of Special Week's races were accurate.
So these are based off of real races too?
Yes, and there's one I'll have to share in the spoiler section about Silent Suzuka.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool.
Man. We should have done more research before we watched it. That would have made it so much cooler.
It was really cool looking at the conversations as they aired, because there was people who would be in these conversations who would be like, oh, okay, well, it's crazy because in this actual race, everyone thought Special Week was going to win until that hill happened, and then this, and then they'll share like clips of the race, and it's like only a slight incline, but you'll see that horse come up and just pass up Special Week, and you're like, oh.
Damn, that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting.
There's actually a lot of passion put into this show. Apparently, someone's a big fan of horse racing. Obviously,
Yes.
whoever made this show. So it's not just a mobile game cash grab.
It's not.
Someone
But can
with
you
real passion.
confirm if after all these real races, if the lead horse went out on stage and sang karaoke?
And
Yes.
did the dance? Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that
The
happened?
horses do that. Yes.
Okay, good.
American Pharaoh, when they won the Triple Crown, performed every single time.
Oh, look at the big brain on Brad, knowing who won the Triple Crown
That's
this year.
very
Maybe I
amazing.
don't know.
Triple Crowns through races, Kobe.
I know.
Toby,
I
how
know what
could you-
three means. I know what Triple Crowns. When you got to win the Kentucky Derby, is one of them,
Yeah,
and then two others, and then you have a Triple Crown.
see, that's all I know
Three.
too. Kobe, how could you hate horses after knowing all these awesome horse facts? Such elegant, majestic, beautiful creatures that race and put their lives on the line, never give up, and dance after every race. Come on.
These obviously horse girls should be our overlords, and us putting them in a ring for our own amusement is only going to lead to our destruction. So
It's a matter of time.
I'm ahead of the curve.
All right. Jake, any more horse facts?
I'm trying to think if El Condor Pasa only ever lost to one Japanese racehorse, and that was Silent Suzuka.
Ah.
I wonder if that race makes its way into the anime. I guess you'll have to wait till the spoiler section.
Wait to the spoiler section. Well, we'll tell you. Okay. So yeah, you already named your, I guess, best horse girl. I guess any other big ones?
No, those are pretty much the ones, and then the one that I'm going to have to go to in spoilers.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for those horse facts, Jake.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you for those horse facts, Jake. I wish I could just say that in everyday conversation to just know. Thank you for those horse facts, Jake.
Just follow me on Twitter. I hashtag horseFacts. You know,
Hashtag horse fact. All
right,
right, what's next?
Next, we usually talk about the sport / the actual matches and competitions that happen within the anime. So I think we already kind of briefly touched on this, that the show leans more towards the anime than the sport. So yeah.
I guess a question foremost. So were you guys captivated by these races? Were you invested?
Absolutely, for me. I would sit there, and especially since, again, I didn't know the outcome of these races until after. So I'm sitting there and knowing that they're based off real racehorses and not knowing who's going to win. I was actually sitting there kind of cheering on Special Week myself, or cheering on Silent Suzuka, and just really, I got really invested. I think the episode 12 race, I was sitting there going, come on. And I had money on it. I don't know why. I was just, my heart was beating. I got the races themselves, the in-depth races, not the little blurb races that they showed throughout, had me really into the action.
Okay. Yeah, I could see why people bet on horses. I could see why that's entertaining to go to the race and bet on horses, because there was a sense of excitement to it, at least I felt. And what, for Jeff and I, our curse, I guess, of this is that we're going to compare this anime to every other anime we've seen in terms of sports. So
Indeed.
Immediately while watching this anime about running, and Jake, you've seen this one too, and I think you've liked this one, but the other running anime that I kept thinking about is Prince of Stride, which is about parkour running. And while watching this, it's I was 5-10 times more invested in these horse races than I was in those Prince of Stride races. I remember I got angry over just thinking about how much I didn't like the Prince of Stride races while watching these horse races. Because it's
Kobe,
man,
you get angry over things when things don't live up to your potential. That's your thing,
that's
right?
my thing. That's my shtick. That's my whole thing. But yeah.
I have to agree with you guys, actually. I think initially I wasn't invested in these races, but I think, of course, that has to deal with not being familiar with the characters and not being invested in them. But as the show went on, I came to appreciate these races as well. And I think a lot of it is a presentation and the way that they directed these races. First of all, I love the sound effects. It's actual, horse hooves pounding against the earth. The way they animated the speed as well was very dynamic, and it gave you a really, really good sense of the speed. And I think they did a better job of it than Prince of Stride, actually.
Absolutely.
You got the sense that these guys were fucking booking it, and of course they should be, because they are horse girls. And also, I think what added to it was the announcers, like when they were like actually talking about what was going on.
Oh
on
yeah,
screen.
they're hyping. They're hype people.
Yeah,
It's like,
they're
oh,
hyping
she's
it up.
ahead. She's behind.
Yeah.
Is she gonna make her move? I'm like, I don't know. Is she?
Yeah, and usually I kind of complain about background commentary or announcers and stuff like that kind of just describe what's going on the screen, but they added a sense of tension to the race. Like you said, Kobe, they were basically hyping up the race. So if I saw the race without those announcers, I don't think it would be as exciting. So I did think they added a very valuable component to these races. And lastly, they kept these races short and sweet. They usually built up to it towards the end, and then the actual race itself was maybe no more than 5 minutes, probably even way less than that. But like the races were very short, so it was basically it never overstayed its welcome. Like you got to all the highs and all the lows of the race when you needed to, and it ended when it needed to, and I really appreciated that. And like you said, Kobe, the curse of this is that we're going to be comparing it to other sports animes that we've seen. Of course, Prince of Stride is one, and another one I would say is Yowamushi Pedal. Even though that one is a biking one, they're both basically races.
Yeah.
So these are all of the racing genre. So obviously, I don't think it does it as well as Yowamushi Pedal, but it did do better than Prince of Stride. And you said you saw Prince of Stride, Drake?
I did. I watched Princess Stride.
Yeah, so I was trying to determine why. Like, why does this show, which is just about running, more entertaining than the races in Prince of Stride, where it has crazy parkour moves and also running? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there something we can deduce from this show?
Well, first, Jake, do you think these have races that are better than Prince of Stride? I forgot
That's
your
good
feelings on
question.
Prince of Stride.
Good question to start with.
I think the races in this are absolutely better than Princess Stride's races. There are parts of Princess Stride that I enjoyed. I definitely wouldn't say it's in anywhere close to one of my favorite shows. I wouldn't even say it's a show that I'd tell people to watch. But there's parts in Princess Stride that I like that focus solely on the running, because one of the characters, it's weird how well like the detail put into this, but one of the characters constantly runs forward, like with his body leaning forward. And in one of the episodes, like a rival tells him that he's like, "Hey, you're having a hard time breathing because you're not running with your back straight." And I'm like, "Yeah, like absolutely, that totally makes sense." And then he starts running with his back straight and he starts running better. And I'm like, oh, "Okay, that's cool. I like that." In this one, they focus on like but that's just one aspect of Prince of Stride. I mean, in Uma Musume Pretty Derby, they really focus on the running like a lot more. I don't know. For me, it's like the more technical aspects of stuff. Like they talk about the short sprints. They talk about how you have to have smaller steps while running up hills. And it's like when it's about the running, it's about the running. And so I feel like it's more intense. When Prince of Stride, it's, "Oh, I'm running. Oh, there's my brother. Oh, we have a strained relationship." And then are you like, "Yes, but you're racing. Don't think about your brother while you're racing." I mean, even Uma Musume even goes into that, how not thinking about the race can screw you up while racing. And so I feel like that's maybe why, is that the races are taken more seriously in this show about horse girls who then have a idol concert at the end of it than a show about parkour running.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just the other distractions in Prince of Stride, but I think the parkour element of it actually hampers the races in there, because you do have the running elements of it, but then once you get to the parkour elements, it kind of slows down the race in a way, because they have to kind of like vault over things and climb things, and as impressive as those feats are, they never really do them super fast, and it'd be unnatural if they did, actually. And it kind of turns it from like this super fast, intense race to, okay, now we got to watch them do something really technical, which is cool to watch, but then it kind of distracts you from the race itself. So I think it kind of links back to what you're saying about how there are distractions during the race that do not serve the intensity or the engagement of the race. And I think, to me, the parkour elements are part of that as well. So yeah, I think maybe it's simplicity is what it boils down to, I think.
Yeah.
Uma Musume is just like, just run.
Just run, and it's like you get invested. Boom. You're ready to go. It's like, come on, win, pull ahead.
Yeah, very simple. Who's gonna win?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we already talked briefly. Jake mentioned about the technical aspects of it, like running with shorter strides when you're going up hills and stuff like that. For me personally,
the slipstream.
The
right?
slipstream. Yeah, that was another good one. Well, I mean, I was gonna say this race didn't go too much into running, but I guess it did to a fair amount. It did as much as it could. But so Jake, so you're the sporty guy.
I'm glad that's my
nickname. Sporty guy.
Sporty guy Jake. Could they have gone deeper on this? Like, how much more is there to running that me and Kobe should probably have known from this show?
I feel like they could really have explained more of the last corner sprint is a common move in racing. So I wish they would have at least said it instead of just assuming everyone kind of knew that. The slipstream is an actual thing. The problem is, since they're moving at such high speeds for such long distances, it's kind of hard to add human racing, I guess, to this. Because, but something that I kind of noticed in this is that, except for Silent Suzuka, whenever a horse girl was leading, she never won. Because that's a common thing in racing in general, is especially in the Olympics, some of the times they'll throw out a person to be the pacemaker, and that person will just be the person in front to lose. They'll just set there's this famous runner, Prefontaine, and that was kind of his thing, was that he'd run and speed up the pack, but by the final turn, he'd have no energy left because he'd be leading the pack, that everybody would just pass him up at the end. And so it's kind of the idea to tire out everyone else while having your best runner be in the middle of the pack and be ready to go.
Oh, that is interesting. So wait, that was that employed in this show? Because it was all individual running, right? It was all individual.
It was all individual running, which was weird, but there was always that pacemaker out there for some reason. There's always that person who was leading the pack while our main characters were in the middle or towards the background or towards the back, trying to figure out how to pass or when their time to kick.
That's true. What about Silent Suzuka though? Wasn't she mostly in the front?
I was gonna say she's the only exception. She's the only leading character who leads the race and wins. But if you watch the other races, whoever's leading really pulls off at that corner.
Very interesting.
Okay.
So Kobe, what did you think of does this make, so we always ask this question on our podcast, did this make you want to try out the sport? So Kobe, does this make you want to ride horses / be a horse girl?
Nope, but I would watch a horse race. I would get invested in the world of horse racing and watch from a very safe, far distance. I think I could get into that. I think I would. What about you guys?
I think so too. I think, yeah, the idea of following a horse, following them race to race and figuring out how they do. I guess what I like, I just like being a fan of something. You know what I mean? I like that idea that there's just some horse that I'm going to follow because I'm a fan of that horse for some reason, and I'm going to support that horse and watch it race and stuff.
Normal people with sports teams.
Oh yeah, sports.
Yeah, that's what people do. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. Huh.
Full circle.
Yeah, I guess that's all we could really say about the sport, unless there's anything else you guys want to add.
Nope.
No.
Next up is the villains / antagonists section. So we talked briefly about the rivals and sort of some of the opponents in the show, but didn't really go too in-depth about them. But how do you guys feel in general about these?
Because there's really not in a sense, because this is more that I want to touch on. I want to touch on more of this in spoilers as we talk about the theme, because I think it's hard to talk about the theme without talking about kind of the final arc of this, and so I don't want to spoil it. But I liked how there weren't really any villains, that they were just rivals, and that kind of catapulted all of them to be better. So I like how, because even though I think it's in the third episode or second episode when it's after she raced Seiyun Sky and I think somebody else, it's they're, even though they're opposites and they're on opposite teams, they're sitting together for lunch and then they're talking and being friends. It's because I thought that was a nice touch. That's all I got to say about that for now.
There is a character who kind of serves as that overly talented like character, like, or team. Like, again, my history with sports anime is very limited, but they're like Brio how did we agree to say her name?
I don't think we did. I think it's also what's it? Brye, right?
Yeah, Broy.
And if knowing any French, that means that they cut off all the letters, so it's just like buh. It's like, that's it.
So she kind of serves as that like that team that has
one.
never lost, or
the one to beat.
Yeah, the one to beat, and like that's the closest thing I think this show has to a antagonist, but. She's just a little cocky. I mean, so are most of the characters are a little cocky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even
I like how.
Well, go ahead, Kobe.
I was saying because really, and like what the show kind of establishes first off is there's Team Spica and there's Team Rigel, and the Team Rigel is supposed to be like like the patriots of it all. Like they're the good they're the team that just can't really be beat, and they're the good team, but. My only problem with that, like Team Spica, there were no slouches. Like they were pretty good from start to finish. I mean,
yeah, it's all because of the trainer, because he picked them, hand-picked, and then let them do whatever the fuck they want.
Like, because even at the beginning, it's like, are you sure you want to join Team Spica? It's like, why not? I mean, it's like you have some talented. You have Silent Suzuka on there. Like, why would you not want to be on that team?
In all the school, yeah. That was a little odd. Now that I think about it.
I know this is pretty far from like anime, but you guys see the original Mighty Ducks movie?
Of course I have.
Of course I haven't.
Oh, you're missing out. One of the greatest trilogies of all time.
In the Mighty Ducks movie, there's like the Hawks who are like the best players, and then there's the Ducks who suck. And that's kind of how they treat like both teams. Like, oh, there's Regal who's awesome, and then Spica, and then you're like, and like Kobe said, Spica has no bad racers in it. They all perform really well. It's just like there's only 3 of them or 4 of them.
Yeah, see, that calls into question the trainer then, doesn't it? Because that means in the past, he's just kind of gambled on, like, who knows, random horse girls that he thought were good and then never really trained them. So that's why his team ended up being kind of crappy overall. But, like, this year in particular, he got Suzuka and he got Special Week. And I feel like that's kind of what happened.
And
his
Golden
reputation
Sky was already like a great horse racer. Like, she had no problems.
Yeah, he got lucky that she... that they got the that he got the last good horse racer essentially, and everyone else everyone else left his team, right? Because they were like, "You're not teaching us. We're gonna leave." See?
Joke's on you. The style works because I just wait for them to come to me.
I just wait for them to get good.
Best trainer ever.
Suck on my lollipop.
I tell them to follow their dreams, and they do. It's amazing.
God, I'm just distracted now because I just want a Mighty Ducks anime. Like, I would watch the shit out of that.
When I think of Mighty Ducks, I think of like
the greatest trilogy of all time,
like Donald Duck and his family playing
Bombay.
hockey. Is that what it is?
There was an animated show where they're literal ducks
from the future.
Yeah,
and they play hockey.
Is that what they play hockey? Yeah.
All right. Anyways, so yeah, in general, yeah, I prefer an anime with really good villains. Kobe, I think you know this. I think you appreciate a good villain as well. So I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't really that kind of role to fill. And like Jake said, there was a person to beat, but that person didn't really interact with the characters as much for them to really be qualified, I think, as a proper villain type. And but this isn't really one of those shows. I think it's just it's a nice, easy, comforting, wholesome watch, and it's not really there to serve too much drama.
It's a show about horse girls who sing karaoke after they win. Like, I mean,
yeah. I mean, don't expect too much.
Yeah, you don't go. You don't go on like our anime at the end of the episode and go, okay, here's why El Condorpasa's ideals are okay and smart, and everyone else's ideals are wrong. And she did nothing wrong.
She did nothing wrong.
I know. I think you should actually do that.
Throw a live grenade in the chat to see what happens.
Yeah. The rest of our discussion is essentially, I guess, presentation-based things that are notable, things that you guys noticed in terms of the animation and the soundtrack. And I guess we can move on to the themes after that. So all I gotta say really is I really like the soundtrack. I liked the opening theme. I liked the credits theme.
I
and I liked
love the opening theme.
songs in the middle during the races and stuff. They really pumped me up.
I watched the opening theme. I think sometimes I zone out of like the opening credits, but I love the opening song to this.
I do too. I love the part near the end when like they break out of the gate and then like the song like picks up and then you see everyone racing and stuff like that. And that was I like the soundtrack.
While I do like the opening, I will argue that the opening kind of looks like it's made for a different show. Because like it kind of makes it look like we're gonna see all Team Specca race, and then we kind of really don't.
I actually wanted to mention that. That is one of the things I'm really disappointed about the show is that we only really follow 2 characters and their races. I guess it would be kind of unwieldy, and the anime would be a lot longer if we followed everyone else. But yeah, the opening gets me hyped to see these girls race. Especially Vodka, best girl, but we never really get to see them get into their own element or have their own victories or their own failures. They're kind of just pushed off to the side to support these other main characters. But yeah,
I gotta start paying attention more to OP because like when I say I really like an OP, I could care less about the visuals. It's all about the song.
It's all about the song.
Like all about the song.
For me, it is a song, but I also appreciate when the visuals and the song are like kind of synced up. You know?
Yeah.
Like. I hate it when they're not in sync. Like when the song picks up, but then like the animation is still kind of like they're still kind of the scenes are still slow and stuff, and it's kind of static. Yeah.
Oh my god! But do you know what the best song in this whole anime was?
What was it, Kobe?
It was you have to watch the whole series in order to get to it. It's the very last song. It's like a fast Japanese rap that plays over like the actual end credits.
Yeah.
Yes.
All of a sudden that comes on, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I wanted this to be the ending normally. I love that. I was like, I have no idea what's going on.
When it comes to visuals, Jeff brought it up earlier, and I really wanted to agree with him at the time. But it's it's how they show speed and like the racing, like the sounds of the race are so good. Like you said, they really help bring you into it. So if we're talking about visuals and sound.
Yeah, they did do a really good job at presenting these races, which the anime is all about that. So good on them for doing that. Princess Stride, take notes, please. Even though you're probably never going to have another anime series again. Did you know that was based off a game too?
I did not know until I listened to the Anime Ricochet.
Oh, sweet.
We taught someone something.
I know.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I did not know it was based off a like the light novel.
Light novel, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Whew. Well, we did our jobs, Kobe. I think this is the last episode of Anime Ricochet. Goal completed.
Ending on horse girls.
We do this every episode, but sometimes I wonder if we should. We always discuss like the themes.
Well, I think the theme is because I want to get into this in spoilers. Because I think
Okay.
the theme is actually. I thought this was one of the shows that implemented theme like really well. I think that like so. I'm excited to get into that, but probably saved for spoilers.
Then let's save it for spoilers. Let's enter spoilers. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes, enter some spoilers.
We're rounding that fourth turn right now.
Rounding the fourth turn at spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1. All right, we're in spoiler territory.
Oh man!
Yeah, let
Some
it all
different
hang out.
here.
Yeah, see, have you ever skipped ahead of Jake? That's what I was questioning. Do people skip spoiler sections? I don't understand people who would watch part of this and then skip part of it to like listen to the end. I think if you're listening to it, you're invested.
I skipped your Hayaku spoiler section.
Oh,
That's true. Have you not watched all that yet?
I have not watched it yet.
You are killing me.
Wait, which part are you on? Are you on season 3 though?
No, I bet not.
I haven't even started.
Oh, you're killing me.
Oh,
That's why,
man.
because he wouldn't have. But that's too big of a hype. I can't say like he wouldn't have started, or else he would have finished it by now because it's so
true.
good. But that's overhyping
true.
it. I don't want you to go in expecting
No,
godlike
I think
stuff.
that's appropriate. I think he will really like it, especially because he's the sporty one.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
I feel like people now would imagine me wearing a sports jacket, like not sports jacket,
He
but
is-
like a
he is everybody.
Letterman's jacket all the
think
time. But like, hey, everybody.
You literally just shot yourself in the foot because of how show how not sporty you are. I'm wearing
know,
a
it's a
sports
sports
jacket. He's dressed up nice for this.
But yeah, Haikyuu is really great. Listen to the Anime Ricochet podcast of that.
Good point.
So yeah, spoiler section. What did you guys want to talk about? You want to talk about the theme?
Yeah, I want to talk about the theme because a lot of the sports animes we watched deal with a similar theme, which is about how rivals make you stronger. and rivals bring out the best person that you can be. And a lot of the time that's really understated and not really explored to its best potential. But I would say this anime in particular really hit that beat super hard and did it effectively, because it showed throughout like the course of like that middle arc where Silence is injured, Special Week is caring for her too much, and then that's hindering both of their races until that great trainer moment when he's like, no, stop thinking about this way. Don't be someone to help her. Be a target for her to aim for. Like, that's what will make you both better. And I just thought, wow, that's awesome. Like, that showed all these sports animes that we've been watching. That's like the first time that I've seen it laid out so specifically about how important a rival is. And that's really, that really tied the whole show together, because the show isn't about, enemies. It's about people who are stronger that make you better. Like, there's always someone that you can pair with in order for you to look up to. It's why Teo, wants to be wants to run with the president, who's like a beast. It's like McQueen and Golden Chip have like their relationship because they're together. The two rivals, Vodka and Scarlet, like, they're always at each other because it's like about how rivalries make you better. So I thought that was just really well done throughout the show.
That's that makes complete sense to me, and it does tie it all together because it's something that they've been building to since the very beginning. Like ever since Special Week saw Suzuka ran, she was like, I want to be like that. And then when they met up, they push each other. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Do you agree or disagree, Jake?
I agree full-heartedly, and like to put on my sports boy coat here for a second.
put on the sporty jacket.
Sporty jacket. I in high school when I ran track, one thing that still sticks with me today is there's this guy I always ran with, and he was always better than me. And then my last race of the year, I'm running, and as I ran around the final corner, the last 100 meters of it, my coach is standing there, and he goes, "Jake, that's Chris!" And he points at the guy who's always ahead of me, and he's only 2 people ahead of me. And so I sprint, and as I pass him, he perks up, and we start sprinting. We pass like 3 other people.
Oh, and wow, that's crazy.
We push each other, and we just go over and we finish, and we are both out of breath, and we both had a PR, like personal record, that race. And so
nice.
When he says be in target for aim and the rivalry, I'm like, yeah, that's absolutely it. That's really a good way to see like your teammates. It's like, yes, you're friends with your teammates, but treating them as other like racers is such a great way to become better at this sport that you're doing.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm so glad my point had merit.
What if Jake was like, "No, that's bullshit."
Yeah, that's actually you're actually wrong.
No, you're horrible. What is?
You're not a sporty guy. Sorry, go ahead, Goey.
I was saying, and that's what's so great about this. But then it's also, I guess, on the other side of the spectrum. It's why I wish the reason Special Week looked up to Silence was stronger. Like, I wish that beginning reason would have made that a little bit more impactful for me. Because, like, throughout the first, I was like, I don't understand their relationship, which we already talked about. I mean, like, I don't.
But isn't that why?
It.
Because wasn't she inspired by her running, and she wanted to be like her, right? Because she ultimately her goal was to be the best runner in Japan, right? And at the time, to her, the best runner was Suzuka. So that's why.
But if that was highlighted even more, like we saw more of the backstory about how Special Week always watched Silence's races or something, or always like knew about it. Instead of like that one instance when she first sees Silence, is like, oh, that's Silence Suzuka. I love her. Like I didn't have enough reasoning behind it.
But what about, okay, let's go to Haikyuu. A similar situation there happens.
Don't you spoil it for Jake.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I want Jake to go in there pure of heart. So I won't even mention that. But I'm just gonna, do you know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I think
so. I mean, in that instance, isn't it similar to that?
I don't know, but because this is so short and 13 episodes, I just think they could have done it, and it just took me, because the moment I think this all changes, like the midpoint is Silence getting injured, and it's her story of her, and it's her pulling ahead. It's just like if their relationship was stronger to begin with, that moment would have meant more.
Okay.
Well, remember I had that horse fact that I couldn't share till spoilers?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Silence Suzuka dies.
Yeah, I did. I looked it up after. I did look that up. I was just like, it was an injury that
What?
ultimately, as soon as she got injured, I was like, oh, I googled Silent Suzuka horse, and like the first thing is just like she was injured in this race that ultimately, led to her death. I was like, oh shit, like
Dude,
how
that's
dark is this
fucked.
going to go?
That is the last race Silent Suzuka runs. And so every race is like after that is not accurate,
It's
like
all
to the
made
actual
up.
horses. But yeah, so Silent Suzuka runs that race and gets injured, and then I can't remember if the injury like led to the death or if the injury was just so bad to the horse that it got put down.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
couldn't race anymore.
That's usually what happens, right? Like if they get any kind of injury, they're like if a horse gets any injury on its leg, it basically can't
Like
be
can't
used
function.
as like a yeah. So it's like you basically have to put it down, or else you're taking care of it forever.
Mhm.
Is what I
I was-
understand about horses. That's insane.
I'm horribly dark, but I was
makes
horribly.
sense, though.
I was really hoping that Silence when they said like you're going to get better. And I hope she didn't. I hope there were
Oh my
complications and then she died.
I-
would
Things
love
things
that.
have to go dark for you, don't they, Kobe?
I
Not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out at one point. So when she's in the hospital bed and they're like, "You're gonna get better and you're gonna race," I'm like, "Okay." And then I like looked at my phone or whatever, and then the next scene was like the flashback. I thought it was that. I thought she was having like some sort of fever dream about getting better and being able to race.
Oh, so you thought that was like all a lie, and then
All
she
a lie.
dies with the thing.
And
That
then
would have
she
been dark.
gets-
Oh, I would have loved that so much.
And
That
then
really-
she gets. I was like, "Oh my god."
That would have really fucked me up. Because that actually, that was one of my turning points for when I started liking the anime. So one of the turning points was, I think it was the third episode when Special Week actually lost. Because before
Yeah.
that, she won basically all of her initial races. But when she actually lost, I was like, oh, okay, so there's actually going to be something going on here. And I think that's usually how, like, that's the structure of anime that I like for my sports animes, is I like it when the main character starts off losing. So initially, when Special Week was just winning all the time, that's kind of why I didn't like it at first. That's why I told you, Kobe, the other day, I was like, yeah, I don't like it. And it was because of that reason specifically. But when things started turning around because of that moment, I started getting on board again because I like my characters to start off as underdogs. Anyways, the other turning point was when, so like it was during that race when Suzuka was like doing really, really well and things were great. And then suddenly she like breaks her leg and she starts kind of like limp running. That was when I was like, oh, like, cause that actually came out of left field. I didn't expect that to happen at all. And I was, from there, I was very engaged with these characters. I was like, yeah, okay, I can get down with this. And that was kind of the small arc that I mentioned for Suzuka that she had when we were discussing the characters. Like, her arc was kind of basically about getting better, but I guess it wasn't 100% convincing because her as a person didn't really change. She just basically got better and then got fast again. But it was still something. The arc that I thought they were going to go with that was kind of obvious for me was there was that point where she was discussing with Special Week why she started running, and it was basically just because she loved it. But then they started putting her in training camps and like basically started using her as essentially just a pure racehorse girl. And so that's why the love of it kind of got sucked out of her. And I guess the obvious arc would have been like during some race, she just she sees a grassy field like she used to, and like she just starts running for the enjoyment of it. But they kind of went that direction, but not, I guess, purely in that direction, because I think what happened was she basically started running for her friends and was inspired by her friends and her rivals and stuff like that. But it never really circled back to I love running because I love it purely, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my Suzuka section.
For me, with her specifically, and why I guess I'm so upset with her, her growth, I guess, if we can call it that. I like it when a character gets knocked down just so they can build themselves back up. And when she's down and she's out and then she's trying to run again, and trainer tells her like, oh, well, like the reason you're not going all in is because you're afraid to get hurt again. And like, I was hoping they'd play off that more, like have her show this fear, because before she was this horse girl with no fear. Like she's like, I'm gonna run as fast as I can, as hard as I can, all the time. And if I can go faster and harder, I'm going to go faster and harder. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, now she has this injury, and now she's afraid to get hurt again. She can't run the way that she wants to run anymore. And then it kind of just shifts to, oh, Special Week's taking care of her and hindering her progress. And then I'm like, oh, I wish we would have focused more on her for this part.
Yeah, I thought there
Yeah.
was a different anime here that had Silence as the main character, and I was wondering what that would have looked like from like start to finish if we saw it through solely through Silence's eyes first and foremost. I thought that would have been an interesting direction for it to take.
Yeah, that definitely would be. Maybe it would have been more focused because, like you said, like it did seem like there were two halves of the story. It wasn't really committing to one. I mean, it did lean more towards Special Week. But yeah, I wonder if it would have been better that way rather than Special Week because it is it is more distinctly set up as a typical story, right? I mean, like Jake said, there's a point where she gets knocked down and then she has to build herself back up again. Whereas with Special Week, it's kind of it's a similar thing. She loses and she has to build herself up back again, but it's not as drastic. And the stakes, I guess, aren't as high with her because Suzuka has a reputation of being the best horse girl ever. She actually has something to lose with her injury and not recovering, whereas Special Week is kind of on the up and up. So her ups and downs are not as, I guess, high stakes or as drastic.
I did like how they upgraded that, or how they presented that story, because it's like, as you said, like, you know, she loses in the third episode, and it was kind of a different thing than a lot of the animes that we've seen, to like have a character, she comes onto the race and she wins like her first two races really well, and all of a sudden she becomes kind of a known entity, like she becomes like a serious contender, like right off the bat, where people like are considering her a favorite in races, and she doesn't know how to handle this sudden influx of fame and just like and acknowledgement. It's like, oh, okay, this is cool, and then she immediately loses that, like in the third episode when she loses it for the first time. It's like that's a whole arc of things that I'm glad they didn't wait until like the midpoint or the end to even approach. That they just got right into the meat of that within like the first three episodes. So that's something I give the show props for.
Yeah, I'm glad they resolved that very quickly as well. Because like I said, I initially was not a fan of it. Back to Suzuka's injury really quick. I think it's a testament to the show because for me personally, I don't know if you guys felt this too, but like after she like sprained or like fractured her leg or whatever, every time after she was running, I was kind of cringing a little bit, like, oh,
me too.
Oh, no,
Yes.
oh, please slow down.
I was like,
you know?
oh, yeah. It's like I felt it in my leg when I was
Yeah.
watching. It's like, you shouldn't be running. Like, don't be running on that. Like,
Her comeback race, I was so worried. I was like, oh my god, like, oh, like I hope she finishes strong. Like I was like that guy who goes, I just hope she finishes. Like I don't even care if she wins.
And that race too, I gotta say, I want to give a shout out to that race specifically because the way that race was directed, I think, was pretty much perfect. Because it starts off with her in the back, and then the announcer's like, "Oh no, she's in the back. What's gonna happen?" But also, like the sound design of it was really good. Like it was quiet. People weren't as hyped up. The emotion was kind of low, and so like I was kind of thinking like, man, she probably won't even win this. It's very possible. And the way that they set up that race, I think, was very well done. And then, of course, they pick it up, and then there's that point where like she closes her eyes and kind of like zones everything out, and then boom, she goes off. And it was just a very well constructed race. It had its low moment, and it built up to its peak.
that's the one that's intercut with Special Week training outside, right? Where she's running.
No, that's
That one, or is that the second? Oh, that's the second one. Sorry.
Yeah, that's I'm talking about her comeback race.
Comeback race. Got it.
Yeah, that was a good race. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about in the spoiler section? Oh, I kind of wanted to talk briefly about like my perception of this anime because when I first heard about it and when I saw like the first couple episodes, I was like, okay, I know what this show's gonna be about. It's gonna be kind of like one of those shows, you know, kind of like a fan servicey show. You've got the pervy trainer who feels up on the legs and everyone's wearing cute outfits and stuff. But I was actually very surprised because it wasn't that at all, actually. It didn't really indulge itself in presenting the characters as like fan servicing material. Because if you notice, this show does not have a bathhouse scene. They go to a bath, but
And they don't show it.
You don't see them in the bath. They're like after the bath. You see them in like bathrobes, and like the most skin you see is like when Special Week is like weighing herself or something like that, and it's really she's just completely covered up. And also there's a beach training day, and they're not in two-piece bikinis. They're in
sports.
Professional sports onesies.
Yeah, there's professional
the
sports
same
onesies.
thing.
So yeah, I was very surprised that this show was that wasn't the show that I thought it was, and I was pleasantly surprised, and I can appreciate that. It was cool.
Yeah, I was really thinking, like, first and foremost, that this was going to be in the same vein as Keijo, 8 exclamation marks.
Yeah, same here.
But it was not.
It was not, yeah, and I guess I am grateful for that, because they're like I like Keijo because it was like very on the nose about it, and it was like, yeah, it's one of those shows, you know, you'll watch it and you'll like it if you like it. But there are shows like this where I think it's a little less on the nose. It's more kind of like, how do I describe it? It's like, it's not explicit in its intention. It's like the fan servicey bits are
Subtle.
basically there to like, yeah, to make you maybe buy merchandise or something like that. It's, I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, yeah, Keijo is just more upfront about it. And then there are shows that are like this that are very fan servicey that are, I guess, not upfront about it. There's a couple of shows that come to mind, and they're both shows that you like, Kobe, and I watched them because you like them.
Which ones?
In my opinion, the ones that I think of that are in that vein are Freezing and Sekirei.
Jake recommended
Sekirei.
both of those that Jake recommended.
You recommended those to Kobe?
I recommended those to Kobe. I said, hey, Kobe,
See-
we're going to watch these. And
See, those are the shows that I think are like, I think the fan service is kind of not well done, I guess. is what I'm trying-
Not like
I don't know.
Keijo,
Yeah, not like
which
Keijo.
I did not
Classic.
like. I did not like Keijo.
Oh, you didn't like Keijo? I forgot about that. Oh well.
Jake, what do you think about the fan service element of this show?
I think it's the fan service of the show isn't like those like Keijo or Sekirei or Freezing in the sense of like, oh, here's some skin, but it's more in the sense of here's some cute moments. Like
They were so cute.
here's a cute thing because you know these are cute girls. Here's cute girls doing cute things. Do I think that ever took away from like the actual show itself? No, I think it was sprinkled in there like nicely. Like I feel like a good example for me is Gold Chip hitting herself in the eye.
so many times.
It's there, but it's there to show that she's constantly bothering McQueen. It's not like, oh, here's a series of events where Gold Chip's just like, oh, Gold Chip's clumsy and Gold Chip's hitting herself in the eye. No, it's Gold Chip and like, Gold Chip, you're kind of obsessed with McQueen. And she's like, what do you mean? And then it's this like thing of, oh, here's her constantly trying to bother her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In a different anime, the fan servicey moment would be Golden Chip feeling up McQueen like every chance she got.
Yes.
Like, oh,
Like,
you have a
look
nice
at your
figure.
breasts
You have,
today.
It's-
yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Especially,
they're so big. And that's,
in the
that's
locker
that's
room,
what
too.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they don't, and they show really good restraint with those short, cute moments. I like the cute moments, like I like the fact that Special Week has a gigantic carrot stuffed animal like in her bed.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really discussed, but it's just there in the background. It's like, oh, that's cute. Or like
Yeah.
the moments where she weighs herself. Like that was one of my favorite individual moments. She like weighs herself normally. She's like, oh, and she steps off. And then she gets on like her tippy toes
Yeah.
and like goes on it again. It's like these are just nice, cute moments that really elevate the show.
Two of my favorite running jokes of the show is that every time
Running jokes.
Yeah.
Ah.
Are when the girls are asleep and it will like just pan over them and all of them say, I can't possibly eat anymore. Like,
Oh yeah.
just-
Yeah.
And then the other one is when because this is legit. Like getting passed up by a person in a race is so detrimental to your mindset, like especially at the end, that you just can't run anymore. And that's where like when they would pass girls like going full speed and the girl's like, I can't do it. Like
Yeah,
I can't do it. Yeah, they all said that
they
every
all say
time.
it. Like
Yeah.
it's so true. Like just
Oh,
you're
interesting.
running and then a person passes you, you go, okay, all right, I'm settling for this spot now.
Mhm.
This was funny. I liked the comedic timing of the show. I think some of the edits were very strong. Like I love the moment that it was just like, we are going to do a triathlon, and then immediately cuts them walking away. It's like, oh, training camp was fun, wasn't it, guys? Like, bye. Like it's just like moments like that. It's like, I have something very serious to ask you. Do you have this one? I don't have any money. Like when the trainer asks like the female trainer.
No, yeah,
like, when they're
yeah,
at the
yeah.
bar together and he doesn't have any money for drinks. It's like I love moments like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I think that really helped this anime.
The show was genuinely funny. I think we can say that. What did you run in track, by the way, Jake? Were you long distance or?
I was long
Great
distance.
spinner.
I would do
Okay.
the for some reason it's called it's the 1500 everywhere else, but in Nevada it was the 1600 meter and the 800 meter were my two races.
I ran a bit of track and cross country myself, so I guess you could say I'm a sporty guy too.
You're a sporty guy too. And then there's Kobe, the nerd.
Yeah,
The nerd who didn't run.
we gotta start our own podcast. Two sporty guys who talk about non-sporty animes.
Damn it!
Sorry, Kobe, you're out.
You kicked me out. I tell you, no.
So
I guess for spoilers, let's talk about the last episode. How'd you guys feel
Yeah,
about
that's
the
right.
ending?
I feel like episode 12 should have been the last episode. Granted, episode 13 was nice, but episode 12 had a lot of emotion for me.
yeah, that would have been a great one to end off on. And to be fair, though, the 13th one I think was mostly a bonus one, wasn't it? Like if the title screen popped up, it said something about it being a bonus
The name
one.
of the episode was Echo Fanfare.
Yeah, and before that, the title card said above Echo Fanfare, it said like a special bonus or something like that. I have to go back and check it out, but yeah, I think it was just like
Like an
way to
OVA?
yeah, kind of like that, because it was it a tie? Is that what they were going with? Because they were all on stage singing, and only people on stage are the winners, right? But
No,
they
I
were all
thought
on
second and
stage.
third place also sing too, like behind
yeah.
first place.
Yeah.
I
So
think
first,
it's-
second, and third, but then nobody else. But in this case, it was basically all the contestants.
there was no way that was a 13-way tie.
It could have totally been a 13.
Jake, do you have an answer?
I don't think that race exists.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think
makes sense.
I think maybe not a all tie for first place, but maybe like tied for first, tied for second, tied for third in a way.
There we go. Yeah, so that makes sense.
Like,
Where it doesn't matter who won because they all had their rivalries to get along the way. What I did like about the 13th episode was like the trainer had like a huge arc, like his only like huge emotional moment like in that one. He's just
That's
like
true.
he's just like, oh, I can't watch them because I want them all to win, but no, I have to watch them
Yep.
because this is a dream. So I thought that was, and he was like really into it. I thought he was like going to leave or die at the beginning, like when he was talking about like, why are you so
Die.
upset? Yeah, I was like, why are you so upset? It's like I'm dying or something. I've had one too many lollipops that's rotting my teeth or something.
the diabetes
no,
finally
he
hit
was-
in.
Yeah, but he just
What is
didn't
it
know
with
how
you
to
and
react.
death?
It's like death in anime. That just didn't. He just he had such a team that he grew to love, and I liked it how they put a bag over his head and it's welcome to Team Speaker, like they did the
Yeah,
thing they
yeah.
usually do to him. So that was cool. But and that final race, it came down to a point where it's like they were introducing. What I didn't like about it, they were introducing Team Rigels, like all their team members too. Like at that point when they didn't have any, and there's like they have like another like 9 members in that one, and they're like going through all of them. It's like, oh, I don't know any of these people. Like it just I don't really care about these people that they're just introducing. So I didn't really need their inclusion, but it was still nice.
Silent like MVP, like background MVP is Oguri, the one that is constantly eating food. Like every time Special Week's eating food in the cafeteria, she's in the background with like the same pile of food.
Same pile.
She's the
Like,
one
yeah.
that eats the most donuts, right? Like,
Yeah, she
trying to donate anyone.
Yeah, she
Yeah, and that
she's
funny
the-
donut eating kind of.
I love when she wins that competition. She gives it to the other person, like the award, and she's just like, "I just came here to eat donuts."
Yeah, she's like, I just came here for the
can have
donuts.
That was a great, and I thought that was like an animated moment. That's just like I like the way that was animated, like her handing it and her like looking through the whole of the donut, like while she was like handing it to her, and like the only thing, it's like the girl's stomach is like in the hole of the donut.
Oh,
while she-
yeah.
it's like it was hilarious. Well done,
Very-
done, show. Well done.
Well shot.
I thought
yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was just gonna say, yeah, I think the trainer's moments were. I was actually touched by those moments. I was like, yeah, the trainer deserves this. Like he's been laissez-faire training these girls. He deserves a moment to see them all shine at the same time. And I kind of liked how at the end he was just kind of walking away from the concert. Like I felt like maybe that was like the last race or something like that. That he'd be coaching them as a team or something. That's kind of the sense that I got. And then he finds another girl and fills her up, and then says, "You have a dream."
You have a dream,
He's
kid.
like,
I was
I'm
like,
all
give up.
about those.
It'll make
Did you say that to Special Week at the beginning? I forgot if you said that exact wording because I didn't remember it sounding so creepy. Because without knowing the trainer, that's creepy as fuck. You feel up a girl, she kicks him. It's like, you have a dream, kid. Like, huh?
I don't remember. I'd have to
Huh?
go
I don't
back.
remember it there. I just remember him touching her the first interaction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
him getting kicked. Yeah.
I kind of like that it only really happened like those 2 times. Like it wasn't like a constant thing he was doing, was sneaking up on girls and touching their thighs. Like,
Yeah.
like I like that it was like it signified that this is like it's him spotting talent. I like that.
Yeah, it's like him, and I like how they accused him of being perv, like when he wasn't even doing anything. Like he's like, "Did you do this? Did you do this?" Like, no, I didn't. No. Like, I'm fine. Like,
and they beat up on him anyways.
Yeah.
I like the animation of the. I thought the final race was just as intense as any other race, and I really like the animation of the final concert. I thought it was really fluid. Like,
yeah,
it was like really fluid and just really entertaining. Like, it was weird. Like, normally the concerts kind of just like lost me, and I kind of just thought they were really funny, like that they finished off in a concert. But this one, I was like, oh look, they're dancing with their rivals and they're moving correctly. It's all, I don't know, it's all really nice.
Working together. I would say the idol part at the end is like always a part that turned me off. I was like, I didn't really care about it, but at the end it really hooked me. I was on board. Like, I was full idol.
I'm actually the opposite. When I found out, like, after the first race that there was like an idol portion to the show, I got kind of excited. I was like, oh, because this is going to be like a hybrid horse girl sports anime, idol girl anime. Because I know like idol girl animes now it's kind of becoming a popular genre. Is that right, Jake, anime expert?
Well, I mean, if you listen to Gigux, idol anime killed the mecha anime like genre.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. I'd have to see that video he made. I do like watching his videos. But anyways, yeah, I was really down for watching more of those idol girl scenes, and so I was disappointed when we didn't really get to see that much. But
they kept skipping them in the middle.
Yeah, but like we didn't see like a full. Yeah, we never saw like a full on a concert one, like we did at the end of the last race and at the end of the bonus race, I guess we can say. So yeah, I just wish we saw more of that stuff. And I guess I imagine if they did it more, it'd be cool. It'd be a cool way to kind of like summarize the feelings they had during the race, and then maybe we could kind of see more of the aftermath, like the competitors. I don't know. That's kind of how I thought how I would make it go down if there was more of those idol scenes. So yeah, what anything else for the spoilers?
I do want to talk about the race against Bro or Broy or Bro.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wait, which one? The special weeks against Bro?
Yeah, special weeks against her. Because like,
so by this point she's dead. Oh wait, no, that's a different. That's Suzuka. Sorry,
Suzuka's dead. But at this point, like we have El Condor, who has left Japan to go race in France because she's so good, and then she just gets trounced by this by Bro, and so like that's like her introduction is that she like trounces her and then writes on like autographs her like notebook with, "Hey, I'm gonna fly faster than you," and so I liked that we got this cocky like sort of like badass. And then I did enjoy the final race against her. I liked that El Condor told Special Week how to say, don't get too cocky.
Don't get too cocky. Thinking it's like, have a good race. That was fun. That was a funny moment.
She was telling everybody that, and people are getting offended.
That was a strong
I really enjoyed
moment
episode 12 a lot.
Did she start that episode with El Condor Passer giving her the notebook?
Yes.
About the thing. And that was great. I love that moment because like I'm not doing it because I want, I'm doing it. I took these notes because I eventually want to beat her myself. Like, I'm doing this for me. Like, this isn't for you, but you can have these if you want.
Yeah.
Strong.
It's like, I'm not beating her to beat her. I'm beating her to prove I'm the best.
Yeah. That was good. I just thought her character design, she was the only one who was running with a cape. I thought that probably hindered some movements.
Yeah, capes aren't there. Kind of restrictive.
Yeah, they're wearing it just to swag, swag on their enemies. Like if they weren't wearing that cape, they would totally smoke them. But they could smoke them with the cape, so it's kind of like insult to injury,
Yeah, that final push between Special Week and Broy when she pulled ahead, or like when Broy is like, I'm not catching up. What? Like I thought that was awesome. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go Special Week.
Yeah, fuck yeah, beat her to the ground.
Yeah,
fucker, send her back to France.
Yeah, where she belongs. Yeah, but I guess the race my favorite race was again Suzuka's second race against whoever she had to beat, the one that was intercup with Special Week's training like outside.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Where she had to beat. I remember the girl's name because she was wearing one. It's Sun Visor. She was
Oh,
wearing
yeah,
a
Sun Visor. Yeah, it's like the young new book. It was like, and she had to beat that. I love that one. It's just like when she's training. It's like where's Special Week? So she has her own stuff to do, and they're both running like opposite directions, but then like they see each other and they're running next to each other. It's like I like that. Well done, show. I think this show us talking about it just made me like it a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's anything else for spoilers.
Well, Jeff, do you have a favorite race? Or
My favorite race would be the comeback race.
they come back?
With Silent Suzuka. Like I said, like that one just had. And I also like it because it was very different from the other ones. It wasn't just a race to see who would win. It was like a race to see, like how far Silent Suzuka has actually come and if she can even race again after this. And yeah, I liked it more because of that. It had some stakes to it other than just who was going to be the winner. That's my favorite one.
Okay.
Shall we exit the spoiler section?
Let's do it.
All right, we shall exit in 3, 2, 1, and we're back from the spoiler section.
Whoa.
Crazy, right? How's your time in the spoiler section, Jake? Crazy?
I don't know if I can live on the outside anymore.
Can't. Once you're in, blood out. So
Being on the outside is pain.
It's all I know.
So I guess we should move on now to the finale. I guess we could say.
We usually do
podcast.
MVP, but I guess we did it with our best girls. It's like, so I mean, I guess that's
I think
still the same.
Yeah. I think best girls and MVPs, those are the same thing, right?
Similar.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we feel about this show. As you know, Kobe, I have rebelled against the machine. I no longer give ratings. But Kobe, what do you think?
What I think about the show, I think this
you can give a rating, so I don't know.
Thanks. This show surprised me. It was probably the only show that we've watched in some time where I've like changed my mind like a few times from like start to finish. It sounds like it's a dip against its quality, but it's just because I like the way it evolved and growed. It evolved to where it eventually got. Like the middle section was a little tough, but that middle section was necessarily tough in order to grow into something like really kind of special and entertaining. I think there was a stigma going into the show, just it's about horse girls who sing songs afterwards, so that had something against it. But in the end, I was pretty invested about this. I would watch a second season, where I want to know more about these characters. The biggest fault that I have with this is that I don't know these characters as well as I want to. And it's not saying like these characters were underdeveloped, because I think they could all be given a chance to shine and be interesting. There just wasn't enough time. But I'm actually not upset about that as I am about, when other shows do it, because they're that interesting. So I guess if you're not doing a rating anymore, I don't know, I give it a 4 out of 5.
Wow.
I think.
Wow, that's pretty damn good.
That's high.
Did I go too far? Oh, I don't know.
I haven't rated anything in a while.
Yeah, I don't know how to rate things anymore.
It's your new gold standard.
My new gold standard of anime. I liked it better than Megalobox. I'll tell you that.
Oh, wow. I did a video while this was airing saying how I was actually choosing to watch this instead of Megalobox.
Good. You made a good choice. Well, actually, Jeff, I think you and I were like the ones that against it, because we didn't like Megalobox as much as the world did.
Yeah, we are against the grain. There is another anime YouTuber that I know of that didn't like it as much either. His name is Super Eye Patch Wolf.
Oh, okay.
He briefly mentions it in like one of his best things of spring or something like that. I don't know, but he briefly mentions it. So, we're among those with the good taste.
I guess last thing I'll say about it, first of all, it's like, because there's categories of sports animes. There's like the gold standard is obviously Haikyuu, and that one's just story driven, almost perfection. Just like it's just great and real characters from start to finish.
And it goes into the sport.
And it goes into the sport, and like Baby Steps is in there too, as well as probably maybe Yowamushi Pedal to an extent. But there's like the fun animes that we watch. There's this one. There's maybe like Keiju would be in this category, but that was like the bottom one. Princess Stride would be down at the list. Aokana, Rhythm Across the Four Blues, is one that's like an interesting sport that had similar themes. but this one is at the top of that section. You know, it's not like the animes that I would go to choose to watch or recommend as a sports anime, but it's a fun watch, and it's one of the top fun watches that we've seen.
Okay.
Better than whatever that fucking rugby anime we watched.
All out.
All out.
I listened to that one. I listen to a
Yeah.
lot of Anime Ricochet. That's what I listen to while I work out.
Oh man, I
Thanks.
appreciate that so much. Anyways, Jake, what do you think? Will you be giving a rating? Who knows? Let's find out.
Yeah, let's. For me, I enjoyed this show. I like a show that's serious and has like good storytelling as much as the next guy. But I also love a show that I can sit back, enjoy, laugh, get involved, not involved, but wow, I can't think of the word right now. Invested. I can get invested in. And this show really hits like all the points of the more laid back shows that I like. I like the serious moments felt serious, but it was still just a show I could sit back and enjoy. It had heart. The characters were for the most part very entertaining to watch. I don't think I sat there and like rolled my eyes if a character was ever on screen. I enjoyed I enjoyed almost every character interaction that was there. Like even the small interactions between like Tio and the president, I was kind of just like, man, I could have watched a whole episode dedicated to like their backstory. I could have watched whole episodes dedicated to some of these characters' relationships, but I understand there wasn't enough time for that. So I think with the time that it had, it did almost perfect with what it was trying to do. I do wish that our secondary protagonist in Silence would have gotten more character to her, but I still enjoyed her. Again, I didn't roll my eyes when she was on screen. If I had to give this show a rating, which I don't have to, apparently.
You can do your own rating. Don't you do ratings?
We
on
do
Anime
a rating.
Dumpster Dive?
We do
That's
do
right.
a rating on Anime Dumpster Dive.
Yeah, give it one of those ratings.
Okay, so you want me to explain what the ratings are? Or
Sure.
So on Anime Dumpster Dive, we have 3 ratings. One, which is trash, where we say an anime is garbage and you really shouldn't watch it. If you had interest in watching it, don't bother. Then we have a recycle bin, where maybe there's some merit to it if there's an audience for this show. Maybe we even personally liked it, but understand that there's faults in it. If you have an interest in watching the show, go ahead, watch it, make your own decision. And then we have a find, a show that we have deemed good, and that if you want to watch, if you've never even heard of the show, put it on your plan to watch list, enjoy it. And for me, I would say that this show is a find. I think that people should, like, if you want a fun, laid back, like, not entirely a sports anime, but maybe to ease you into the sports anime world, this would be a good way. Because it's not too in-depth in the sport, but it's also not like using the sport as a secondary thing like Prince of Stride, where the sport was kind of just there.
Mm-hmm.
All
Very
right.
good, very good. For me, I think you guys basically nailed it on the head. You guys have basically summarized exactly my feelings on the show. I too was surprised by this anime. I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did going in.
Yeah, I thought you were going to hate it.
Me too.
Yeah.
When I texted Kobe, I was like, hey, you guys should watch this. You'll love it. Jeff will hate it.
I think a lot of it has to do with, I guess, the way I perceived the show, like my expectations for it. And I think, like I said, sort of in the spoilery section, maybe I mentioned this beforehand as well. I think it was around episode 3 when I kind of decided, you know what, this show isn't as shallow as I thought it was going to be. And as the anime progressed even more, I just got more and more on board with it. So yeah, I recommend this to anyone who likes a nice, casual, easy watch, who likes a good comedic anime, who likes cute girls. If you like horses, if you're into horse racing, please give it a watch for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess if I were to give it a rating, I'd give it 2 hooves out of a racetrack.
That's good. Wow, that's high.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I didn't even rate it that high.
Yeah. You're crazy, man.
It's the new benchmark for horse girl anime, for sure.
Yeah.
I do have a question though, real quick for you guys.
Yeah.
Because with your guys' old rating system, you always would say like if you would buy some merchandise if it was available.
Yeah.
So knowing that this is a game coming out on mobile, and so that probably does mean like maybe little merchandise stuff, maybe like little plushies of them. Would you get a plushie of your best girl?
Absolutely.
I think I would. I think I would too.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm gonna get. I would want to get this
Try out the game,
too.
right?
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
want. If it has these characters in it, I'd want to build a roster of a team with these characters. Like it's like I gotta get El Condor Pasa.
Yeah, I
You know?
I already have a sense of what the game's going to be. I think it's going to be a gachapon game. I don't know if you guys have played those, but like you basically collect characters and like those characters go on like fights and stuff like that. I guess the equivalent to a fight in this game will be like a race. And you'll like raise the girl's stats and that kind of thing. And I actually like those kinds of games. I played Fire Emblem. That got for
Fire Emblem
Nintendo.
Heroes?
Yeah.
I still play it.
Oh, you still play it? Damn. Yeah,
Yes.
I was really into it. For me, it eventually ended up being a waifu collector, and then I stopped playing it after that.
Yeah, I collected my family of Robin, Cordelia, Selena, and I can't remember the daughter that you get in Awakening. Yeah, but Morgan.
Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
I was like, I got those 4 characters, and I kind of fell off for a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it'll be one of those games. But yeah, I would totally get a plushie of vodka, and I'd get one of those PVC figurines.
Oh,
For
wow.
sure. Even though those are really expensive. I mean, yeah, I'd have to have like a lot of leftover cash. Be like, I'd get other PVC figurines first, but she'd be on the list. She'd be on the list. You know?
Like if you had a best girl shelf, there she would be there.
There she would. Yeah, exactly.
Would you, Jake?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'd get an El Condor Pasa PVC and a Heartbeat. I don't know if they'll make one, but if they would make one, I'd put her right up there with like my other figures.
They'd make an awesome I don't know why they wouldn't.
I mean,
She'd be an awesome figure.
I could totally see that as a cool figurine. Yeah.
Although Golden Sky is best girl, I don't think she's the best.
Golden
she's not
Sky?
the best design.
it's Gold Ship.
Well,
You don't even know your
shit.
best girl's name.
Your best girl's name.
That's a damn
Golden
shame,
Ship.
Kobe.
Damn it, I've lost all credibility. I just don't think Golden Ship is well designed. That's what I was going to say.
She has a funny
I was like,
hat.
I would prefer an El Condor. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
prefer El Condor Pasa way more than
Yeah.
Golden.
She'd make for
Ship.
cool dynamic action poses. But Gold Ship would have like a Rubik's Cube one, I guess. That's kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
Anyways, the only other thing I'm going to say is, Jake, do you dive into dumpsters?
Yes. Is this me plugging the channel? Says Jake,
I-
who doesn't know how to read
we said we'd give
socials.
you another one. Yeah.
Social interaction. No, yeah, we dive into a dumpster bi-weekly, pretty much. Is that bi-weekly or is it? Is that
Every other week?
Couldn't that work both ways? Like it could mean either twice
Twice
a week or
or-
once every 2 weeks.
Shit, I don't know.
I don't know.
Or both at the same time. Twice a week, every other week.
No, we over at Anime Dumpster Dive do a podcast where every other week we talk about a show that's been deemed bad by pretty much a community or the public. And our latest podcast, we actually talked about the sisterly loving show Citrus.
Sisterly loving. It seems like a
Sisterly
nice way to
loving.
put that.
Yeah, and that's
Sounds wholesome.
And we also talk about a currently airing anime, which you guys are familiar with, in Cells at Work, or Hataraku Saibo, if you're a weeb.
Yep. Man, it sounds like an awesome podcast.
Yeah,
Yes,
You
it
should
is.
have us on sometime.
I will listen to it again and again.
So, I have a question for you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe's been on it. He watched a show that he liked. But hypothetically, would you be willing to come on it and watch the first season of Chihaya Furu again?
Oh, man. Again? Wait, for real? Is this a real offer? Are you guys going to do it on Anime Dumpster Dive?
I'll bring it up. We might not do it this summer season, but maybe next season. I'm really considering it because I know that you do not like it. So I'm curious if you'd watch it again and see if maybe the other guys would be fighting against you or agree with you.
You know, I love the show. I would love to be on any of your guys' episodes. So, yeah. But is Chihaya Furu deemed trash by?
No, it's liked by a lot of people. You are
what the
you are a
heck?
minority.
Thank God. I was so scared
What?
when you said that. When you made that offer, I was like, oh, do people not like it? Like, oh, no.
It would change your perception of it, Kobe?
Yeah, nope, it would not.
All
So
right.
great.
No, yeah, I would totally be down. My only fear is that I'd actually change my mind on it. Because I mean, like, that was what was it, episode 3 or something like that? It was a very early episode of Anime Ricochet. Since then, we've seen a lot of sports animes, so maybe my perspective on it has changed.
Okay.
Who knows?
Ooh, okay. Yes, let's do it.
But
Have us on
I
that
enjoy.
one. Have us on any show, Jake. We'd love to talk trash.
I enjoy being the contrarian, so
Okay.
hopefully I still hate its guts.
Hopefully.
Hopefully it's still trash for you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was very, very fun. Thank you for being on our show, Jake.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast, guys.
Come back anytime.
Yeah, for real, anytime. Kobe, shall we do the plug thing?
Let's do the plug thing. You're listening to this on Nerd Blaze, brought to you by Nerd Blaze. This is Anime Ricochet. We're on YouTube. We're on wherever podcasts can be found, which is Libsyn, Spotify, iTunes, all that fun jazz. Wherever you want to listen to this, you can find us on there. We also have a Twitter at the Nerd Blaze, which maybe we tweet at. I'm not even sure. But yeah, we also do a lot of cool videos on our site, Nerd Blaze. We do a weekly review, as Jake said, of Cells at Work, and we do weekly reviews of all animes. So come talk to us. We like talking to you guys and talking to fan, and all that fun
I
stuff.
like talking to Jake in the comments.
Talking to Jake in the comments. I'm pretty sure all the people who've commented on our videos, it's just Jake in different.
In my alt accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do enjoy it when people comment. Like, we've had more of a better discussion on our Cells at Work videos.
Yeah,
so.
your guys' Cells at Works videos are getting a lot of discussions in there. It's really cool to just read those.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah, please continue.
Please do that. Jake, where can they find... did you already say it?
I didn't say where they can find me, I guess. You can find me. Hopefully they'll throw a link somewhere for my channel at Anime Dumpster Dive. Well, again, we do a bi-weekly podcast as well as certain mini reviews every now and then. You can also find my personal Twitter at FakeJakeH. It's fake_JakeH. And I tweet pretty often, mostly about Overwatch stuff. Not anime-related things.
Huh.
I should start tweeting more anime-related things.
I guess so. What's the point of following you then?
They're just like, all right, he said Diva got another nerf. I don't get it.
You just said words right there.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Close this out, Jeff.
Thank you for listening to Anime Ricochet. Thank you for being on our show, Jake. Thank you for being on the show, Kobe. We will see you guys next time.
We'll be back next time. When we choose our anime now, or just keep it a surprise?
We'll keep it a surprise this time.
Because we don't even know.
We don't. No, we totally know.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't though, and that's the real secret.
That's the surprise.
Yeah.
That's the surprise.
All right. Thanks a lot. See ya.
Bye.
Bye. I don't know why I waved.